I want you to imagine a flavor so seductive, so incredibly sweet, that the most powerful man on earth demanded it as a tribute of war. Rome, 1st century AD, Emperor Tiberius is tired of gold, he is tired of silk. Instead, he sends his legions to the banks of the Rhine River in Germany, not to conquer land, but to collect a specific, knobby, mud-covered root. He demands wagon loads of it to be brought back to his banquet tables in Rome. Why? Because this root possessed a flavor that simply didn't exist in the ancient world. It wasn't just sweet like honey. It was complex. It tasted like roasted chestnuts, parsnips, and vanilla cream, all wrapped in a crunch sweeter than a carrot. It was nature's candy before the world knew what candy was. For 1,500 years, this root was the king of the garden. It was the star of Royal Tudor feasts. It was the secret ingredient in the kitchens of monks and kings alike. But today, it is gone, extinct from your supermarket, erased from your menu. Why? Did it lose its flavor? No. It disappeared because of a hidden flaw, a wooden heart buried deep inside its sweetness. If you bite into it wrong, without knowing the deboning secret of the ancient chefs, you will spit it out in frustration. It feels like eating a delicious vegetable wrapped around a chopstick. The modern world decided it was too much work. We chose laziness over flavor. But if you stay with me, I will teach you the lost technique to remove that wooden heart. I will show you how to reclaim the emperor's favorite snack right in your backyard. Welcome to Reclaimed Nature. This is the story of Skirret. To understand why this ugly little root was worth an emperor's ransom, you have to understand the world before sugar. In the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, sweetness was a luxury. There were no candy bars, no soda, no bags of white crystal sugar in the pantry. Honey was expensive and hard to get. So where did you get your dopamine fix? You got it from the ground. Skirret or Sium sisarum was the answer. Botanically, it looks like a bunch of white twisted fingers growing from a single crown. It's messy, it's chaotic, but chemically, it is a sugar bomb. While a carrot is mostly water and fiber, skirret is packed with natural sucrose. In 1390, the very first English cookbook, The Form of Curry, listed skirret as an essential ingredient for pies and fritters. Herbalists like John Gerard in 1597 wrote that it was the best and most delicate of all roots. It was believed to cure hiccups, soothe the stomach, and, according to the whispers of the royal courts, it was a secret tonic for male vitality that noblemen craved. It was the truffle of the vegetable world, expensive, prized, and absolutely delicious. So if it was the king of roots, if it tasted better than anything we have today, what force on earth was strong enough to kill it? What weapon was powerful enough to dethrone a king? The answer isn't a disease, and it isn't a bug. The answer is a white powder that arrived on ships from the New World. In the 17th and 18th centuries, the world changed. Ships began returning from the Caribbean and the Americas, their holds filled not with gold, but with white death, sugarcane. Produced by the brutal machinery of slavery and colonization, sugar became cheap. Suddenly, sweetness wasn't something you had to dig for. It wasn't something you had to wash, scrub, and carefully cook. Sweetness became a powder, instant, pure, and addictive. Why would a Victorian cook spend 30 minutes scrubbing the mud off a bundle of tiny, fiddly skirret roots to get a hint of natural sweetness when they could just dump a spoonful of sugar into a pie? Skirret's complexity became its downfall. We traded the nutty, creamy, floral sweetness of the root for the one-dimensional chemical blast of refined sucrose. We became lazy eaters. The Industrial Revolution demanded uniformity. They wanted big, fat carrots. They wanted smooth, round potatoes. Skirret? Skirret is anarchic. Its roots twist and turn. They branch out like octopus tentacles. You can't peel them with a machine. You can't harvest them with a tractor. So the industry labeled it too fidgety, too much trouble. And just like that, after 1,500 years of glory, Skirret was tossed into the compost pile of history. We forgot that food was supposed to taste like something other than just sweet. But here is the good news. While the modern food system chased convenience, it left behind something crucial: resilience. Sugar makes you sick. It spikes your insulin. It rots your teeth. Skirret does the opposite. It is sweet, yes, but its sweetness comes wrapped in inulin, a type of fiber that acts as a prebiotic. It feeds your gut bacteria instead of spiking your blood sugar. It is safe sweetness. And for the survival gardener, Skirret offers something the potato never could. The potato is an annual. You plant it, you harvest it, it dies. If you eat all your potatoes, you have nothing left for next year. Skirret is a perennial. You plant it once, and it stays with you for decades. It is a cut-and-come-again root crop. You can dig up a clump, break off the biggest, juiciest roots for dinner, and replant the small crown. Next year, it grows back bigger and stronger. It is a passive food generator. And unlike the fragile crops of the supermarket, Skirret loves the cold. In fact, it needs the cold. When the frost hits and kills your tomatoes and peppers, Skirret is just getting started. The freezing temperatures trigger a chemical reaction in the roots, converting starches into even more sugars to protect the cells from freezing. This is called frost sweetening. While your neighbor's garden is dead and brown in January, you can walk out into the snow, dig up a clump of Skirret, and feast on the sweetest, most calorie-dense food winter can provide. The king has been waiting in the cold for us to come back. But to invite the king back to your table, you have to deal with his armor. You have to master the wooden heart. If you don't know how to handle that tough inner core, all this history and nutrition is useless. You need the technique. Now, let's deal with the wooden heart. If you just boil it and chew, you will be disappointed. You'll spend half the meal picking wood out of your teeth. That is the amateur way. To eat like an emperor, you need the Tudor extraction method. This is how the royal chefs turned a woody root into a delicacy. The secret is the mash. Don't try to peel them. Don't try to cut the cores out raw. Instead, boil the roots whole until they are falling apart tender. Then take a sieve or a colander, push the cooked roots through the mesh with a wooden spoon. Here is the magic. The creamy, sweet flesh passes through, turning into a puree. But the tough, woody cores, they get trapped in the sieve. You separate the gold from the wood in seconds. Now you have a bowl of pure Skirret cream, sweeter than mashed potatoes, nuttier than parsnip. Mix this puree with a little flour and egg and fry them in butter. You get Skirret fritters, crispy on the outside, meltingly sweet on the inside. This was the dish that made kings obsessed. It transforms a fidgety root into the ultimate comfort food. And a quick safety check. Skirret belongs to the Apiaceae family, the same family as the deadly water hemlock. But the difference is clear. Hemlock smells like dead mice and has purple spots on the stem. Skirret smells like sweet carrots and has plain green stems. Trust your nose. Because once you taste the real thing, you realize what we have lost. We traded this ancient complexity for the easy, boring sweetness of sugar. But you can reverse that mistake. Emperor Tiberius commanded armies to get this root. You just have to plant a seed. It is a choice to work a little harder for a flavor that is real, complex, and ancient. So, I have to ask you, are you a sugar eater or a flavor hunter? Will you let the king of roots stay buried, or will you give him a throne in your garden? Tell me in the comments below. Subscribe to Reclaimed Nature, and let's bring the past back to life. Knowledge is not lost. It is simply waiting for you to remember.